So today we heard from GM. They announced their earnings, and it wasn't worse than expected. Remember, they've been pretty vocal about how these auto sector tariffs, it's a 25% tariff on all imported foreign cars and parts, would impact their bottom line. They had initially said likely a $4 to $5 billion hit throughout the year.
At the overall $4 to $5 billion impact from tariffs that we shared. That is what we know now based on the clarity that we're given, and we're very appreciative that the president provided that clarity.
This car has foreign car parts, and so ultimately, while this car as a fully assembled vehicle would not be tariffed because it's not coming across the border, the parts that are coming across the border to make this vehicle.
Regular letter to shareholders from General Motors delivers a bombshell on May 29, 2025. It was disclosed that President up to $5 billion of GM's profits this year could be lost due to Trump's increased tariffs on imported autos and parts. This wasn't only an earnings report line. It started a domino effect that swiftly extended from the boardroom to the manufacturing floor. In a matter of weeks, GM started reducing work schedules, firing employees, and even temporarily stopping assembly lines from Detroit to Ontario. When the news broke, Wall Street took notice and cut GM's profit outlook. Concerned employees murmured about what might happen next on the factory floor. Before something breaks, how long can those production lines remain silent? Tens of thousands of jobs could ultimately be at risk due to this interruption, according to economists, a staggering statistic that we will disclose later in this video. Please click the like button before we start. It enables us to circumvent YouTube's algorithm. The government promoted tariffs as a precise weapon to support American manufacturing and create jobs in the United States. For automakers like GM, however, the reality was much more harsh. The goal was to put pressure on automakers to produce more vehicles and parts domestically. But it would take time to transform GM's global supply chain. The administration imposed a broad 25% levy on all imported automobiles and auto parts at the beginning of April. The alarm was promptly raised by GM's finance staff. CEO Mary Barr warned in her letter that these tariffs would gut between $4 and $5 billion from the company's earnings that year, money that would otherwise fund crucial projects like advanced electric batteries and new vehicle development. To put that in perspective, $5 billion is roughly one-third of GM's typical annual profit. It was a financial blow, large enough to force the company to scale back investments in its future technologies. Before we continue, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Really helps the channel grow. Under pressure from automakers, the White House made a small concession in late April, capped overlapping duties so an imported part wouldn't be taxed twice under multiple tariffs, and offered a token credit if final assembly occurred in the United States. Even so, that was only about a 3% overall relief. It wasn't nearly sufficient for GM. Since the company still sources about 40% of its parts from overseas, each vehicle was subject to nearly the entire 25% tax. GM calculated that even with those adjustments, tariffs increased the cost of manufacturing each pickup truck by around $3,200.